So we're in chapter 4. We're going to talk about operating systems. One second here. Let me adjust this thing here. All right. So we've talked about operating systems before, and we said that the major operating systems you have Windows, Mac, and Linux. Right. Those are the three main computer operating systems. So let's look at some information about operating systems, right? So if you look here in the book, it tells us right here that, let me grab my highlighter here. All right, right here, it says there are three major classifications of software, right? Three major classifications of software: operating systems, applications, and drivers, right? We refer to operating systems as OS. OS, operating system, all right? OS. So we have we have three major classifications: operating systems, applications, and drivers, right? Right here, we talk about operating system. Or I guess maybe an easier definition is an operating system provides an interface, right, between your applications and your system hardware, right? So when you look at your computer right now, right, you can see your desktop, you can see, the start button, you can see all your programs. You have your mouse, you have your keyboard, you have your monitor. It says an operating system, it provides the interface. But if you have a mouse, right, how do you use your mouse? The operating system kind of tells you how to use the mouse, your keyboard, your printer, all the little devices that you use with your computer is determined by the operating system. So if we look at this picture here, let's see this picture here. All right, now when we look at this, let's look at this keyboard here, for example. Let's do this. All right, so right here. So right here is a keyboard and mouse. Now, May, can we connect this keyboard and mouse to every kind of computer? A Mac and a Windows computer?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. How about the other type here, right? We looked at the other type here. Any of these ones here? Anjuman, can we connect this to a Mac computer? So you see there, you have two different types of keyboards and mouse. Here's one keyboard and mouse here, and here's one keyboard and mouse. Right?
Right.
Go ahead.
Yes. I can connect it.
So this one here connects to a Mac, right?
Yes.
And this one here connects to a Windows. So what the book is saying is that the operating system, it provides the interface, right? Your device and your operating system kind of work together, your devices and your operating system, right? This goes with the Windows and this goes with a Mac, all right? So that's the job of the operating system, to determine what and how you use the different devices and items with your computer, different hardware.
Yes.
All right. So right here it says that the OS must communicate with the hardware. The OS must communicate with the hardware. When you plug in your mouse or your keyboard, the OS is going to respond and, you know, install if it is compatible, right? We've talked about the word compatible before, C-O-M-P-A. That's what it means by compatible. Can they work together, right? When you're compatible with something, it means that you can work together with that thing or with that person, right? Compatible. Or compatibility, C-O-M-P-A-T-I-B-I-L-I-T-Y, compatibility. It's a long word, right? But that's what it means. If they can work together, the hardware and the system. Okay? Now, the next software is the application. So what's an application? What's an example of an application you have on your computer, Lynn?
I have no idea.
I
Application.
What? Look at what it says right here.
It's
An
a
application
software.
is a piece of software used to accomplish a task.
Yes, software.
So what kind of application or software do you have on your computer? Lena has disappeared. Arch?
Microsoft Office, Zoom.
Yep.
Yes.
Microsoft
Google
Word.
Chrome.
Microsoft Office.
Yep. So everything you see here, we have a lot of applications here. All right, so here are different applications you might have on your computer, right? This is what?
Word.
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 Microsoft Word, right? How about this here?
Firefox.
Firefox.
Firefox. Abu Saed,
Yes, sir.
do you know what this is here? This one here.
This may be recycle.
Recycle bin, right?
Yeah.
Recycle bin. So all these are different applications you might have on your computer, right? Sometimes we call them applications, or software, or programs. Same thing. Applications on your computer, software, programs, same thing, right? So the operating system, right, determines what kind of applications you have on your computer. So these applications here, you can use them on a Windows. Some of them you can use them on both Windows and Mac. Some of them are more specific. For example, right here, the different applications you might find on the Mac, something like this here. Oh, that's very small. All right, so on the Mac, you might find these applications there, right? That's the, I know what's that?
The canvas.
What does it do?
For searching.
Safari.
Searching what? What's it called?
Browser.
Safari is called a what?
Web browser.
Browser.
Exactly. It's called a web browser. What are the different web browsers that we have? Safari. What else?
Google.
Google Chrome.
Google Chrome. Explorer.
Firefox.
What else?
Explorer. Opera.
What?
Opera.
Firefox.
Internet
Firefox.
Explorer.
Internet Explorer died a few years ago. Did you attend the funeral?
Yes.
What else do we have?
Now they use Edge in the place of Explorer.
Microsoft.
All right. So these are called web browsers. They can be used for searching, but they're not mainly for searching. A web browser allows you to go online, right, and do whatever you want to do online. You can search, you can shop, you can go to school, right? You can go to YouTube, social media, whatever. But the web browser allows you to go online to do that. Okay? So some of the applications are very specific to different operating systems. Are you going to find Safari web browser on Windows? No. Are you going to find Internet Explorer on a Mac? No. So some things are very specific. If you look here at the system settings, it's different from what you find on the Windows, right? So that's what the operating system does. The operating system, determines what kind of software you have and what kind of software you can use on that operating system. All right. Then here's the last software called a driver, right? A driver. Not an Uber driver or a bus driver. A driver is what helps your applications or hardware work on your computer, right? So, question for you. Arch, what's your native language? Do you have a
Malayalam.
native language?
Yes.
Mandarin?
It's Malayalam. Malayalam. Malayalam.
Say it again.
Malayalam.
Malayalam. Malayalam?
Yes.
What
Malayalam.
country is that? What country is that?
India.
India. Okay. All right. Alex. Alex, can you speak Malayalam? Alex?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, Alex, what's your native language?
Portuguese.
Did I spell that right?
Yes, correct.
And that's from Brazil, right?
Right.
Okay. So, Ling,
Yes.
if Alex and Arch are going to have a conversation, right? Alex is going to speak Portuguese and Arch is going to speak Malayalam. How are they going to understand each other?
Interpreter.
Ling? Exactly.
Interpreter.
They need an interpreter, right?
Interpreter.
Someone who can say, that's what he said, that's what she said, that's what he said, that's what she said, that's what he said, that's what she said, right? And hopefully the interpreter is telling the truth, right? It's saying the real truth of what they're talking about. So you need someone to interpret so that they can communicate, right? On a computer, that is the job of a driver, right? When you install a mouse, a keyboard, the driver's job is to make sure that your computer and your device can communicate, right? Like an interpreter, because your mouse may speak a different language and the computer doesn't understand. So the job of the driver, when you install the driver, when you install the device, the driver takes a few seconds to install the driver. The installation includes a driver, right? The driver helps that device get installed so that the computer and the device can talk, right? Communicate. So that's the job of the driver, okay? So you have an operating lane. I asked you a question earlier and you disappeared. So what kind of applications do you have on your computer? We just looked at a few different applications. This is on a Windows and this is on a Mac. So what do you have on your computer?
Windows.
Yes. What kind of applications or software do you have on your Windows? Do you have Microsoft Word?
Yes.
Do you have Internet Explorer?
Yes.
You have Paint?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Do
Okay.
a search on your computer. Do a search for Paint. P-A-I-N-T. Paint.
Okay.
P-A-I-N-T. Paint. You're going to see it there. It's part of it.
Oh.
So check. You're going to see Paint. It's not paint like a paint bucket. It's paint like if you want to do some graphic design, like you write L-I-N here.
Oh.
And you put a smiley face here. Right? Use Paint and you can put some ears there.
I use this software for everything on my computer.
Oh, nice.
Okay. And you can put some shapes there if you want, right? You can put an arrow there. So everything, whatever you want to do there, you can do it. Right? Okay, so that's Paint. All right, let's keep going. So let's go to the questions now about this chapter, and we'll take it one at a time. So first question, Lane, that's for you.
Which of the following is not function of operating system?
It says is not, right? Is not.
Yes.
I think it's D. Monitor system health.
Well, what does
think
system health? What does system health mean?
Like virus, antivirus we have to install for the virus to save our system from
Okay, let
hackers.
me show you guys something. Let me show you something about system health. System health means to make sure your computer is working well. Not too hot, right? Has enough memory and all that stuff, right? Making sure that all the different, programs on your computer work properly. Let's show you something here. If you on your keyboard, if you go to Control Alt Delete, right? Control Alt Delete. It's going to show you some options. Control Alt Delete. It's going to bring up a window like this, right?
Yes.
You see that when you do Control. Now go to Task Manager. Task Manager. Control Alt Delete on your keyboard is going to bring up these options. Click on Task Manager. When you pull up Task Manager, you're going to see something that looks like this, right? You can see all these different columns here. You see the CPU, the memory, the disk, a lot of activity on your computer. A lot of activity on your computer, right? Now, Alex, why does this say very high right here? Power usage, what do you think? Sometimes it goes to red.
I'm not sure. Maybe it's because it demands more activity from the CPU or from the RAM. Anyway,
So what program is that? That's what?
The one
That's
that we
Zoom,
are
right?
using right now.
All right. So it tells you that Zoom right now is using a lot of resources, right? So the computer is monitoring, right, what is happening on your computer. It's like monitoring it. It gives you an indication of what is happening, right? You can see that Firefox is also not too bad. And you have some other programs. A lot of activity on your computer, right? On that Task Manager, you can see what is happening. Now, sometimes, don't do this. I'm going to show you something, but don't do it, right? If you do it, you're going to end your session. But let's say that Zoom was taking up a lot of my resources, and I don't need Zoom. Let's say I just don't need it, right? I can right-click here and click on End Task. But don't do it. If you do it, you are going to be kicked out of the meeting, right? So if you find a program on your computer that's taking up a lot of resources, you can right-click on that program and end the task. Stop it from working. It will free up some of your computer resources, all right? So this is part of system health, to make sure that your system is working properly, right? It gives you an idea of what is happening, what is too high and what is too low. So back to the question, it says, which of the following is not a function of an operating system? Not. Okay, let's reverse the question. Which of the following is a function of the operating system? Ling, let's reverse the question. Number one, is this a function of the operating system?
No.
No?
Yeah.
I think A.
Anjuman?
Yes.
Yes.
Is
A.
it?
I think A.
So A is, So A is a function
Yes.
of an operating system because A is the interface between you and the computer, right? I mean, Lane, how will you use your computer if you cannot see the icons, you don't know what to click, you don't see the pages, you don't see the programs, right? That's what the operating system does. It helps you to see how to use the machine.
Okay.
Okay. How about B? Is B a function of the operating system?
Yes.
Does the operating system determine, does it coordinate between different applications? Like, let's say, for example, if you have Microsoft Word, right? Does the operating system know how Microsoft Word works and how Internet Explorer works? Like how they function among themselves? Is the operating system responsible, for how they function between themselves? I don't know. We have to see. So let's see what the answer is, right? Let's see what the answer is. Just to be sure here.
It's C,
Go ahead.
I think. C.
It's this one right here. All right, let's see. So chapter 4, and we go right here. Question 1. Okay, that's the answer right there. An operating system provides an environment for the software to function, but it does not coordinate between software applications. That's a little bit confusing, actually.
Yeah.
Right? It provides an environment, but it does not coordinate between the software applications. I don't know what that means. Right? Because, for example, if I open up this notepad, right, and I save this file, save as, let's say I want to save it as a PDF file, right? It's the job of the operating system to make sure everything works, right? So I don't understand the answer, right? If I was going to choose an answer, let's go back to that question. Okay. If I was going to choose an answer, I might say that the answer is C. Actually, it's not very clear. That question is not very clear because the hardware components, I mean, the mouse and the keyboard and the printer, well, the operating system has to be involved, right? Monitor system health. Yes, it's the job of the operating system to make sure that the system is working the way it should work. So that answer is not very clear, right? So hopefully in your CompTIA exam, you don't see this kind of crazy questions. What do you guys think?
I thought.
You think the answer is obvious? Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought coordinate software applications means every software application is different. So operating system is no way connected to that every software. Like no, there is no connection in between, I think.
There's no connection, right? Okay, let's see something here. Maybe you're right about that.
Example, if it is a paint and calculator, so they are individual.
They're individual, right?
Yeah.
So Microsoft Word is different from the recycle bin. The web browser is different from Photoshop, something like that. Well,
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, it's not very clear to me because some of those applications can work together, right? Some of them work together, but so I don't. that question is not, it just don't make sense to me. The answer doesn't make sense to me. So let's move on. Question 2. Which of the following operating systems can you modify if you want to modify? May? I think we talked about this already, right?
Yeah. C.
Which one is that?
Danger.
And C.
Android.
Yeah.
Can you freely modify your, like, you can take your phone and break it apart and build it and go and sell it? So let's look at here. All right, so let's look here. Let's talk about Linux. Let me show you guys something here. Right here. So when you look at this part here, it's telling us about the code, right? How the program was built. Some programs are built and other people can modify or change. It's an open license, right? So the actual code, right, that tells you how that software works, right? Let me show you something else here. All right. So let's look at this here. A couch. What is this? Do you know what this is here?
It is
Have you seen this kind of window before when you're trying to install or download something?
no.
No? What of a window that looks like this? How about this? You haven't seen any of this
License.
software license agreements? You just click, I accept, 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 accept.
Yeah. So down.
Yes.
This
When
is
we are
Right.
known as
installing
the
something,
agreement that nobody
It's
ever
a
reads.
document.
When we
You
start
are, I'm not
installing the
saying you read
application,
it.
they ask that.
I mean, no human being reads this. I'm not saying read it, but you see it when you're installing and you just click accept,
Yes.
accept, accept.
Yeah, it is an agreement.
Yeah.
We have to read before accept.
Right,
Yes.
Couch? You've seen this before, right? You see it all the time when you're trying to install something.
Install anything.
This is called a license agreement, right? Basically, the license agreement says you cannot modify the program, you can't go and sell it, right? You can't start selling your own copies of Windows, for example. You can't do that, right? You can't make any changes. Just use it, all right? But Linux is different. The Linux operating system is different. The Linux operating system, let me show you here. Okay. So right here, let me show you what I mean. Okay, right here, look at this part here. This is the part that you need to see. So Linux is an open source software, right? Open source program or application. It means that anyone who wants to modify the code can modify it and even go and sell it. If you have the tools, if you're a developer and you know how to do it, it's open source, right? So Linux doesn't have this kind of agreement that tells you you can't do all this stuff. So let's see if we can find an example of a Linux license. Let's see if we can find it. I can't really see one now, but if you're able to find one, it will tell you that, like it tells us in the book, it's open source, and you're able to, do a lot of, like right here. Look at what it says here. It says a developer might add a lot of services, or different developers might keep something, right? So it allows you to make customize the program if you know how to do it, right? And so you have a lot of what we call Linux distributions, a lot of different versions of Linux, because different people, right, have different versions that they can recreate, if it makes sense to you, right? So that's just an important thing for you to know, that with the Linux operating system, right, it is open source, right? Right here, Linux, open source, which means that, anyone is free to modify the code, and a lot of developers do that, okay? So back to that question, May, back to you. So question 2 again, May.
Yeah, C.
What?
C.
C.
She said D. A, B, C, D, D.
A, B, C, D, D.
D. Yeah.
A, B, C, D, D.
So Linux. So Linux is an operating system that allows you to modify, right?
Yeah.
Mac, you can't do that on the Mac. You can't do that on the iOS or Android. Linux allows you to make modifications and create your own version of Linux, right? Or what we call your own distribution, right? Should I say customized? By developers are called distributions. Distributions, that's what they're called. When you customize your own version of Linux, it's referred to as a distribution. Okay? So a lot of technical terms.
Is that can that be dangerous if you find another version of the Linux and someone make some modification that can be dangerous for you?
No, it's not dangerous. See, what happens is when you come up with a distribution, a lot of people, it's kind of like you have to go through like a panel of, people are going to test it to see if it works, right? Sort of. It's like it always takes, you have to go through a lot of processes, right? And if it works, then people are going to accept it. If it doesn't work, then nobody's going to use it. So if you put a lot of bad stuff in there, well, people are going to find out, and they're going to come to your house. Right? So it just gives people the option of creating different versions based on, what some people like. For example, here are examples of Linux distributions. Let me give you some examples here. So let's see like a list of Linux distributions. Where is it? Okay, let me just go back to a simple right here. Okay, so here are examples of Linux distributions, right, that have been made over time and people have tried and people are using. Debian, Gentoo, Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Kali Linux, Fedora, Red Hat, right? It's all Linux, but different versions of Linux, right? It has a core, what you call a kernel. Some of these things might just sound so technical for you, but we need to kind of be aware of them, for the for the exam. Okay, let's try to move forward. Alex, number 3. You want to try number 3?
Peter, just another simple question. Is Linux
Sure.
the only open source operating system?
Yes, as far as I know, Linux is. Windows is not open, Mac is not open, Android is not open. Linux is.
Peter, a friend of yours, has a piece of software that was written for Mac OS. Which of the following OSs will that software run on? Mac OS only, Mac OS and Linux, Mac OS and Chrome OS, Mac OS Linux and Chrome OS.
So it says that the piece of software was written for the Mac. All right. So what can you run it on if it was written for the Mac?
Mac OS only.
Mac OS only? Art, you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, let's see the answer. Number 3. It looks like the answer, because if the software was written for the Mac, then it should be able to run only on Mac. Okay? So let's see. Question 3. A piece of software written for an OS will work only on that type of OS. So, good job, Alex. You're right.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go back. So when you write software for an operating system, it's only going to work on that operating system, right? Mac OS only. All right. All right, next question here. And Juman, this is for you.
Question 4. Your friend Mitchell just purchased
Michael
just purchased a Chromebook and wants to know where his files are stored. What do you tell him? The hard drive, the system RAM, in the cloud, Chromebooks do not store files.
So we're talking about operating systems here, right? The Chromebook is a kind of its own operating system. So the question is, where does Chromebook store files? Does Chromebook store files on the hard drive? In the cloud? Where? Where does Chromebook store its files?
It's cloud.
Well, let's see if we can find out where Chromebook stores its files. All right, so let's see what we can find out here. It doesn't give us a lot of information here about the Chromebook. But let's try this here. Let's see. Let's just kind of go through this and see what we can find. Okay, so right here, we see some information about Chrome. It says Chrome OS. So Chrome is a kind of operating system which was developed by Google in 2011, right? In 2011. And they say it's a little bit different from, other operating systems. It's a little bit different. So let's see what we can find out about Chrome. The different versions, the operating system. Okay, right here. So right here, let's see.
Already
So,
in the end.
So Chrome is called a Chromebook. Oh, look at that here. Look at what it says here. Everything is stored in the cloud. It says it has a very small hard drive, right? And because of that, it doesn't store a lot of files on the hard drive. Everything important is stored in the cloud. Does anyone here have a Chromebook?
No.
Anybody?
No.
I know you have a Chromebook there.
Yes, my kids have Chromebooks from school.
Okay, so they don't have a lot of files, right? Because it's just for schoolwork.
Yeah.
So that's what it's saying here, that it has a very small hard drive and everything is stored on the cloud. And right here also, look at that. It says using Chrome requires an internet connection because everything is stored on the cloud. So if you're going to use Chrome, make sure you know what kind of computer you're buying. Right? And Chrome is cheap, but it doesn't work like a lot of regular laptops and computers. Right? Like Anu said, it's for kids' schoolwork. If you're going to do some serious work for yourself, get a regular laptop, not a Chrome. Okay? So Sanjuma, let's go back to that question. Question 4. Anjuman, back to you. Looks like Anjuman has frozen. Okay, Anu, let's go to you. Wait a minute, where is Banjo here today? Banjo's not here?
Her daughter is sick, so she need to take
Her
care.
mother is sick?
Daughter.
Her father is sick? What, is she holding his hand? Like, don't be sick, don't be sick, don't be sick?
She need to take care. Her daughter just 1 year old.
Oh, her daughter. I thought you said her father. Her child, right? Her child.
Yes,
Oh.
kid.
Oh, her kid. Okay, so what's the answer to number 4 now? Who's going to try that?
C.
Kaush?
In the cloud.
In the cloud, because the Chromebook, that's how the Chromebook works.
Yeah.
All right? Everything in the cloud. Okay, Anu, number 5.
Yeah. You just deleted a shortcut to an important work presentation. What happened to the data in the presentation?
Okay, before you answer, let me show you some things here. All right. So this file that we're, writing these comments here, I'm going to save this file on my desktop, okay? So save it on desktop here. Just going to give it a date, today's date, 6/7/2021, right? I'm going to save it on the desktop. Where is it? Right here. You see that? That's it right here. So, Anu, the question is, if I delete this file, right, on the desktop, actually, wait a minute. That's not exactly right. That's not exactly right. Let me do it this way. I'm going to delete this. Let's do it this way. Save as. I'm going to save it somewhere else on my computer. Let's just say I'm going to put it in my junk folder. All right? 6/7/2021. Okay. I'm going to save it in my junk folder. All right? So now I'm going to go into the junk folder and create a shortcut to my desktop. I'm going to create a shortcut here. If you want to create a shortcut, you right-click on the file and you go to send to, see that right there? Desktop, create a shortcut. So I click on that, and now on my desktop, here's my shortcut. You see, it says that right there. So the question is, if I delete this file, this shortcut here, if I delete this shortcut, what happens to the file itself? If I delete this guy, delete, what happens to my file? Is the file also deleted, or is it in the trash recycle bin? What happened to the file itself? So back to the question. Anna, go ahead. Number 5.
Yeah. You just deleted a shortcut to an important work presentation. What happened to the data in the presentation? It's in the recycle bin or trash?
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, that is B. I thought it is B.
It's just a shortcut.
What?
Nothing.
Any other person wants to try?
Yeah, it's a just shortcut, not the exact file. So it will not happen. Nothing will happen. If you delete
Remember,
the file.
I know the question is, it's a shortcut, right?
Not original.
So let's see what happened to the file. Here's where I saved the file originally, right? I saved the file right here. It's still there. Right? The file is still here. What I deleted is the shortcut, not the file itself.
Okay. So
if I delete the file itself, then the file is going to go into the recycle bin. If I delete the file, right? But what I did was I have the file somewhere else, and I created a shortcut to it, right? Where's that? I say send to desktop. So right here is my shortcut to that file. Okay? If I delete the shortcut to the file, it doesn't affect the file at all. All right? The shortcut just helps you to get to your files easier, so you don't have to worry about where did I save the file. So you create a shortcut and put it on your desktop. Make sure that you don't have a crazy desktop like we looked at the other time, right? Where's that crazy picture of a desktop that we looked at? Alex, you remember that?
Oh, I don't even want to remember that mess.
It gave you a headache, right? Okay. Yeah, something like this. That's your PC desktop, right? Look at that. So you don't want to have too many shortcuts on your desktop. It's going to be just totally crazy. All right. So Anu, you know the answer now, right?
Yes, it is nothing. A.
Nothing happens to it. Nothing. Okay. Question 6. Abu Sayed, are you there? Okay, no Abu Sayed.
Yes, sir.
Abu Sayed, question 6.
Yes, sir. Yes, just a minute, sir.
Your daughter is back now.
Number 6, with which of the following file systems can you not rename a file when it's open?
So let me explain. So these are different file systems, right? For example, you see this file that I have here, right, Abu Sayed? This file, I can rename it. I can say save as and change the name, right? I can give it a different, the file is open, right? While it is open, I can give it a different name and save it, okay? So the question is, one of these file systems doesn't allow you to do that. You have to maybe close the file first, and then you rename it. Okay? So let's see what's going on here. Let's look at this here. There are 4 types, so let's see if what we can find out. Okay. So when you look under file systems, right? What's a file system, right? So if you go to your C drive, right here. If you go to your C drive, here's my C drive right here, the C drive, right? Right-click on your C drive and go to Properties. You're going to see this Windows C Properties. I want you guys to do it. Go to your C drive and right-click and go to Properties. Now, you're going to look right here. Right here it says File System. See right here? File System. NTFS. So Abu Sayed, yes, what's your file system when you look at this Windows Properties?
NTFS.
Like mine, right? Is it like mine?
Window.
Let me use a magnifier here. Okay. So you see, mine is a file system NTFS.
Yes, sir.
So Abu Sayed, yours is like this, right?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you guys.
My sound system is makes some problems, sir.
Say it again.
My sound system makes some problems, sir.
Okay. So are you able to see this Windows Properties?
Yes.
Okay. Yours is like mine, file system NTFS?
NTFS.
Okay. So the file system, right, basically tells you how the computer handles the files. For example, if I go to, like, the file we just saved, if I go to my junk folder right here, the file we just saved, okay, if I look at the properties of that file, properties of the file. Are you watching this? Arch, you can see this, right? If you right-click and look at the properties of your file, you see some options here, right? You have an option here, security. You have some security options. You can allow some people to view the file or not. It has some, it has some security features, right? So, like we just saw, my computer, actually a lot of computers right now, right? I'm sure everybody here, your computer is probably going to be an NTFS file system, right? Okay. Now, some computers in the past, let me show you. Okay. Now, some computers in the past might have a different file system. Let me see if we can find some of those here. Okay, right here. Okay, that's NTFS. NTFS. I'm looking for older file systems here. One second. I'm not seeing what I'm looking for yet. Okay, let's just put this here. I'm not seeing those options here. Anyway, let's not spend too much more time. Some older systems, right? Some older file systems, this is what the book says. Some older file systems are a little bit different. Okay? Now, when you look at this table 4.7, right, it says common file systems. So the file systems that we have, right, file allocation table is called the FAT system. And here here's some information about those file systems. The file system that we use now, right, NTFS, New Technology File System, right, is the default for Windows. That is, Windows right now uses only NTFS. Okay? Windows uses only NTFS. Now, if we look at some information about NTFS, there's some information about NTFS. Okay. So we're going to see right here. Let's see, 1 second. Okay, so if you look at this, look at the examples you have here, exercise 4.6, right? I just showed you how to find your file system on your C drive. You go to the C drive and you right-click. You right-click on the C drive and you look at the not this one here. Look at the properties on the C drive. You see your file system. Okay, so let's see what it's saying here. Well, it looks like you guys going to read a little bit of this information here. I'm just trying to find something useful for us here. File names. Let's see. Okay, right here. Here's an example. Now it says that in the NTFS system right here, you see what it says here? In the NTFS system, you can't change file metadata, such as renaming or moving when the file is open. Other file systems such as ext3 and ext4 do not have this restriction, right? So it's saying that with the NTFS system, you can't change the file metadata. So the Windows that we use right now, right? And what is the file metadata? So here's the file metadata here from what we looked at before. Right here, properties. So for example, all the information here can't be changed while the file is open, right? You can't change it. You got to close the file for you to do that, all right? I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. So if we see what the question is asking again, let's go back to the question. It says, which of the following file systems can you not rename a file when it's open? So I think if we go back to ext3, let's see, open. Let's see which one it is there, because, you know, I think the easier way is let's see what the answer is, and then we can figure it out from there. Let's go to question 6. Chapter 4, question 6. Now, what does it say here? Well, I think that's what we read before, right? It says, with the FAT or NTFS file systems, you cannot rename a file or change any of the metadata while the file is open or in use. Oh, I think what it means, right? I think what it means is, yeah, I think I mixed that up a little bit. I think this is what it means. So right now, I have this file open. If I try to change the file name while the file is open, so let's say I go here and I want to change the file name to, you know, let's say something else. 0000, right? Is that the file that is open? I'm not sure if that's the file that is open. I'm not sure which one I just, okay, let me do that again. Okay, so this file is open now, so let's see if that's what it's saying here. So rename. It renamed the file. Isn't that what it's saying? The file is open. It renamed the file, or it changed the file name. If I close the file, do you guys understand what I'm saying here? He just said to us here that with the NTFS file system, you cannot rename a file or change any of the metadata while the file is open. But we just opened this file and we changed the name while we're working. Well, let's try this again. So let me go to Microsoft Word. I'm just going to create a file here. Let's see what's going on there. So save this in the junk folder. say test 1, save. Okay, so we're going to leave this file open, then we're going to go and try to change the name. Where is the test?
You didn't save it as test. It's the thing
What?
that you typed in there. Red. It starts with red.
Okay, let me see what I saved it at.
Yeah.
Oh,
red.
at this name? That's crazy. Okay,
Yeah, you
so
can see the
save
name
as,
on the top.
oh, I see. Okay, so test 1.1, test 1.1. Okay. All right, so test 1.1. I thought it was test 1.1. What's happening? Okay, wait a minute. Didn't we just save this? Oh, I think I saved it in a different, okay, I think I saved it here in a different folder. Okay, that's confusing. Save as, let me browse to my desktop, to my junk folder. Okay, save it here. Okay, now let's go back here, here. There you go, that's it. Okay, so now the file is open. We should not be able to change the file name while the file is open. If I go here and try to rename the file and say something else. All right. You see what just happened? Hello? So it says the action cannot be completed because the file is open.
Yeah.
So that's what it's saying. If the file is open, right, can you modify the file or change the file? No.
Yeah.
So if I want to change the file, I have to close this file, right, and then I do it again. So it's important to understand the question, right? And so the answer is, with the NTFS file system, the Windows that you use right now is an NTFS file system, right? So no need to be confused about that. It's a file system, and you cannot rename or change the file while it is open. May it make sense?
Yeah.
That's what it's saying there. All right. Let's do a couple more questions.
There's another
And then we
option
can-
on that question that we didn't go through, the X something file system.
Let's see. Let's see what it says with that one there. Question 4. All right, so the EXT3, and EXT4. So let's see what it says here. The EXT3 is the standard Linux file system, right? Let's see if we can find some info about EXT3. It says the EXT3 and EXT4, you can change the file while it's open, right? It doesn't have the restriction, right? So EXT3 and EXT4, you can change it. The EXT3 is used, let's see. It's used in Linux. The EXT3 is used in Linux. All right. So important to know that EXT4 is also used on Linux, right? And it says you can have a maximum of 64,000 subdirectories in a directory. Arch, you know what that means? You can have 64. So for example, if you have a folder, so let's say I create a folder here and I say Linux test folder, right? In this folder, it's saying that I can have 64,000 subfolders, subdirectories, right? So here's an example. So right here, oh, well, I can do that. Okay, so here's a directory I'm going to put there, test 1. All right, so I can have 64,000 of these folders inside that folder. So start counting and tell me when I get to 64,000. Are you guys counting? Who's counting? Can we keep going to 64,000?
Counting itself.
Okay, we're going to be here till next week. All right, we're going to be here till next week if we keep going. The computer is getting tired of what I'm doing. I'm trying to get to 64,000. My computer might just crash. Let's see how far we've gone to. We've got to 356,000. No, 356. So it's going to take us a long time to get to that number. But that's what it's saying, right? That in that kind of a system, on the ext4 file system, you can have 64,000 subdirectories in a directory, right? In the ext3, you can have 32,000. Why do you need 32,000 subdirectories? I don't know.
Why would you need
Okay.
64,000 anyway?
Who knows, right? Who knows, right? Okay, right here, it says that Google Chrome or Google operating system used to work with the ext3 and 4, but Google stopped using it. Google Chrome now uses NTFS like Windows, okay? So, important to remember that. Okay, let's see a couple more questions here. So the answer here is what? Couch, number 6, is NTFS, right?
Yes, D.
Yeah. Okay, couch, number 7.
You are going to purchase a new iPhone. Which operating system will be installed on it?
What's the operating system for an iPhone?
iOS.
iOS. How about E?
I don't know.
That's Lynn's choice. I don't know. Okay. Question 8. Hey, question 8.
Which of the following is an example of the embedded or
Embedded operating system.
operating system?
So let's see, what does that mean, embedded? Let's see. So that's what embedded means.
Inside.
Embedded.
Inside something.
Okay. Say that again.
Inside of something. Embedded.
Okay, so right here, it gives us an example here. It says an embedded OS can run only one application as opposed to multiple applications like the other OS types can run. So it's very restricted, very restrictive, right? An embedded OS is very restrictive. Right here, it also says embedded operating systems are designed to be small and efficient, only one task, right? Only one task. So, So it says here an example of an embedded operating system is firmware. Firmware is devices that are made just for one purpose, right? They can only do one thing. They can't do everything, just one thing. So it's also here's another example. It says firmware is very specific to the machine. You can't use it on a different set of hardware. Firmware is used to control small devices such as watches, fitness monitors, or children's toys. So an embedded OS can run only one application, not like Windows or Android or Mac that can run different applications. So let's try to go back and see what the options are. So May, back to you. Question 8.
Yeah, it's answer B, firmware.
How did you know that?
You just talked.
Did you just guess the answer?
Yeah.
You just guessed the answer?
Yeah, I just
firmware.
Yeah, firmware.
Okay. Number 9, Arch.
Fred, a coworker, heard about new software called Oreo. To which operating system is he referring?
Oreo. Let's do a search for Oreo. What will we find when we do a search for Oreo?
Maybe we'll find some biscuits.
Find some cookies, right? Okay. So go ahead, Arch.
Maybe Android, like C.
Android, right?
Yeah.
So let's see. Oreo. What is Oreo here? Okay, that's it right there. So Oreo is a version of Android. So Android has various versions from when they started in 2008. The first version, there was no name. The second version was Cupcake, Eclair, Froyo, Gingerbread, Honeycomb, Ice Cream Sandwich. These people like food a lot, right? The people who make Android, just like I know the Mac people like animals, right? Leopard, tiger, snow leopard, right? So Android, they like food. Jelly bean, Kit Kat, lollipop, marshmallow, nougat, Oreo. Can you guess what the next name of the next version is going to be? Maybe strawberries. So Oreo is the 2017 version 8.0 for Android. Right? So that's what it is right there. So let's see if we can figure out the answer, Arch, for number 9.
C,
so you said it was C, right? Android.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're learning something, right? Some of these operating systems. Okay, the last question for today, question 10. That's for you, Lynn.
Which of the following is not a feature of the file system? I think it's C.
B, encryption.
C.
Journaling.
Yeah. I guess.
You guess, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Actually, let's go all the way up here. All the way up, we're going to see it right here. So right here, you see the features of a file, just like the NTFS, the file system features. We've got compression, encryption, permissions, journaling, limitations, naming rules. So if you grab this list, okay. So when you compare this here with the options we see at the bottom, which option is not there? Permissions, encryption, journaling, access control.
Access control is not there.
Let's see again.
Yeah.
There's no access control here,
Yeah.
right? So now, let's just see just quickly where we're actually out of time. But encryption, right? If you look at encryption, that refers to security for the file, right? Encryption refers to security. Encryption. All right, so right there, encryption is encoding the file so that unauthorized users cannot use it, cannot read it, right? Encryption. Unauthorized users cannot read it. Journaling refers to, let's see, where the file changes are written to a file called the journal. So every time you make a change to the file, it's stored in something called a journal. So you can see the different changes there, right? And then the last part there is, let's see that question. The last part there is permissions, right? Like I said, if you want to give somebody permissions to a file, you can right-click here, go to Properties, go to Security, and give permissions and say, I'm going to deny you access to this file or allow you access to this file. So security. So access control is the only thing there that's not part of it. And if we look at access control just quickly here to see what access control refers to. Okay, so basically access control is the right kind of like system access, right, on your computer, system access to, for different tasks. So if you work in an office, you might have a username and a password that allows you to do some things on the computer and not some other things. So that is just for the computer, not for the file. Okay? So access control is for administrators to allow authorized users to make changes and stuff, right, to the computer. So that question, Lane, was about the file, not the computer. So the answer there will be access control. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do we take the other questions on Wednesday. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, let's do the attendance and I can have you guys out of here.